Okay, Ido, talking of the tribe that you have established around you, you've done some posts about your students which are at the very basic, and you ask the questions, does this look basic for you? And for most, it looks unachievable. So is there a way you might want to make movement more appealing to an, let's call them best age or population? We spoke a lot about our father in this seminar. Like, when did your father squat down the last time? Now, how can I make this more appealing to my father?
We work on many different layers, and each layer gets stimulated and challenged in its own way. So, for example, some of my work have been very, very basic and approachable for the general public, like the squat challenge, hanging challenge. I work with older population with limitation, etc. And there, I provide incentives and challenges and tasks that match those demands. And then on the other hand, I want to create a culture of hard workers who shoot very, very high. And maybe they shoot the stars and they hit the moon, and promoting good work ethic. So that resulted in making some things which we call basic because they are very basic in their execution patterns. The type of patterns that we demonstrate are very basic, are very approachable, but they're not easy. And the two are confused often. So the bench press is a basic exercise for some, but what happens if you bench press 250 kilograms? And so this is the same. To do a plunge, it is a very basic concept. Hold your body parallel to the floor with straight arms. On the other hand, it is not easy. And that's where those basics come from.
Okay, so the trade-off, even though you might close the door to 90% of the population that doesn't have the time to dedicate, or let's say they don't see the priority, because everybody has the same amount of time, they have different priorities in their life. This is the approach that you're going to keep going.
Yeah, I don't view it as closing the door. I close one door, I open another door. Actually, 90% of my students will never achieve those standards. So how do I make a living? Because obviously I've opened other doors. And yet, that top of the pyramid in that specific skill set, which doesn't mean it's the top of the pyramid in the movement game, but in basic strength, upper body strength work, will remain and continue to be challenged.
Okay. Quality movement obviously takes very hard practice, and you need a good teacher. Do you think a mainstream gym can make it economically work to offer movement to their clientele?
Definitely it can, but it probably won't. Because there will be needed a huge investment in personnel, in quality personnel, and rewarding the educators, which is not the dogma right now in fitness. And that's what we're trying to change through our approach. We are all about rewarding the educators and bringing the money to education instead of bringing the money to products, bringing the money to networks, to business entities. And that's where the money should lie, because those are the people who are actually producing the materials and taking care of our next generations, our continued development and education. So those modern gyms, I do not see this happening very quickly. They are always the last to react. And I'm sure they will try to catch up and do some watered down version of things, just as have happened with functional training, with CrossFit that is being mimicked by a lot of big networks. Let's face it, a little bit, as they say here in Germany, Scheiße.